where horror lies.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you. I'm your regular Wednesday evening host here at BodyBags. It is week 419, almost said 3. 419 it is. It is the opening week to the month of September. It is random week. Man, it is random. And here we go, another Italian film. But this one just might not have been seen by a lot of you out there. From 1975, and I am going to butcher his name, Luigi Bazzoni, I think. Yeah, I'll go with that. The director of The Fifth Chord, I do believe Franco Nero's in that. And I want to say I'm just going off 71 maybe, I think. This film's 75, and I think it's the last major film this director will do, which is very, very, very unfortunate. This is, of course, the Shameless release of this film, compliments of one David Lewin, of course. This is from the stack of stuff, the good stuff, the goodness, what he sent me. And so this one, when I read up just a little bit on this one intrigued me. And so I thought, let's go ahead and take a look. I can't even remember if I said the title, Footprints on the Moon. Footprints on the Moon. Of course, footprints being a metaphor for perhaps all the little clues that are dropped. And of course, this is Florinda Bolkan, who plays Alice. She, I think, Fulci's Don't Torture a Duckling. And the great surprise in this movie is, of course, Nicoletta Elmi. I'm not sure how you say her last name. Anyways, she, the same year, 75, she would be in Dario Argento's Deep Red, Little Girl. I think she's about 11 in this movie. So she's about 11 now. But in 1985, she'll play, I want to say her name was Ingrid in Demons. I think she's the usheress, whatever. She works in the theater that they're all in. So in Bay of Blood, so she's worked with a few greats here. She's worked with Argento and Fulci. Oh wait, no, probably not Fulci, but Argento and Bava and Lamberto Bava, which had been pretty cool. Anyhow, but Florinda did work with Fulci, which is pretty cool. Now once a woman in lizard skin too. I'm pretty sure she was in that too. So. But anyways, this is an interesting film. Boy, I watched it twice. I'm just gonna say this is definitely worth the view, but I'm just gonna say it's a bit of a slow burn. The pacing is a little bit slow. You just gotta be sold out, man. From the minute this film begins to the minute it concludes, you just gotta be sold out, man. You gotta pick that right time, man, to put this thing in, knowing. You're just gonna have to invest, man, because the payoff is pretty well worth it. Although it is a weird film, man. This is weird. It opens up with you're not sure what's going on exactly, but we get this imagery of this astronaut who's on the moon and has literally will be left on the moon, and. So then Alice, of course, wakes up from this dream. You're not sure if it's a nightmare or whatever, but her consciousness is recalling this movie that she saw that made an incredible imprint on her, an indelible mark, I guess, as they say, as a little girl. And it's resurfacing, or I guess reemerging or whatever, in her subconscious now into her consciousness. And she's not sure exactly what the point. Now also too, when we catch up with her that first day, she realizes very quick that something is off, and we learn that she's missing like 3 days out of her life. And I'm just gonna place I'm gonna play spoiler a little bit. I don't think it'll ruin the film, because this film, even when you get through it the first time, it demands a second, third, it demands multiple viewings, because much of it is really left open to interpretation. Even especially the end, the time frames in which the narrative drives, it's like 1 minute you're here, then you're here perhaps, and then you backtrack or maybe move forward again. Nothing is clear. Nothing is etched down in a way. This is definitely a movie that is not being spoon-fed to you at all. It feels more like an experience or an experiment in some kind of psychosis or something. It's interesting, but so we learn that she's an interpreter, and as a result of her day's absence, she ends up being fired from her job. And of course, things begin to pile, and we learn that perhaps she may be schizophrenic. There may be at least probably just two personalities that for the longest time have remained separate of one another, but now find themselves sort of coming in and beginning to perhaps converge, and which is just going to cause chaos in her life because she has no idea what's going on. And that might be the most frightening part about this whole movie, is Alice is dealing with perhaps another personality within her, whose name is Nicole, we find out. And during this first day, one major clue or footprint that is left, she finds a postcard that's been ripped up, and it seems she seems to think that perhaps maybe she's visited this place in this postcard in Turkish Isle, in this hotel on the island of Garmo, I think, and so everything's sort of leading there, right? And she finds a dress, a yellow dress in her closet that's got some blood on it. So she decides ultimately in order to get to the bottom of everything that is happening, this weird dream imagery about this astronaut, a lot of this, thematically, is just isolation, being left alone, identity, who we really are, and how that can be fractured psychologically when there's something wrong and we have multiple personalities. I think there's just a lot of stuff. It's really, I should say Klaus Kinski's in there too, because he plays sort of this guy who's in charge of it. There's this conspiratorial aspect going on where she believes certain forces are after her. There's this level of paranoia that begins to build throughout the film to its incredible climax, which is really, really, really cool. But she starts, as you get closer to the end of the film, and pieces start to fall into place, and she's starting to realize in a weird way that these two people, Alice and Nicole, may be one and the same. And a lot of the information is fed to her through this little girl that she befriends at the hotel there on this Turkish Isle, who is telling her, no, you were here a few days ago. And of course, to her, she wasn't. But it was Nicole that was there, not Alice. And so that's what I mean, man. That's the frightening part about this movie, is she plays it off so well, Florinda plays it off so well of one character against another, and when the two really begin to converge, there's like a mental breakdown that it's like fate, man, at its worst. It's like you can see the writing on the wall, and there's nothing you can do about it, man. It's like you're on this trajectory, and this is the final spot, and you know you're going to arrive there, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it is a giallo, in a sense. It is not in our traditional sense, but in a more abstract way. The movie just gets you thinking, man. That's what I was saying, man. I don't know if there's any other release of this except for Shameless, but this is definitely worth. If you're a fan of giallo films, but you haven't really dived deep in, this is an interesting film because it takes the approach from a much more abstract way, right? And I won't quite, I'm not going to lay out how the end unfolds, but even it's weird, man. She realizes there's this guy in her past, and it even maybe as far back as in her childhood perhaps, but you don't know how much of this is she's created or how much of it is real. And so as she's retracing her steps on this aisle, and she's running to these people that have who have had a relationship with her, at least in some short sense of the word, who are all telling her, whether it was getting a wig made for her, makeup, or places that she visited. These people, as she's retracing her steps, they're all basically saying, telling her, and it's for Alice to accept this it's nutty, but it's Nicole. And when the two begin to converge, it's you just know it's headed for a really bad place for her. And it's an interesting if this is a movie that is I think Hysteria lives, the Hysteria Continue guys refer to this as a very gentle film, and it is gentle in light of the other giallo films that surround it. It is very gentle in terms of lack of complete gore, and just a little bit towards the end, but and it all does arrive at an event. Okay, an event will unfold as a result of these personalities, and then we're given a little bit at the end as far as where she ends up. I'll just leave it at that. Dang, this is just it's interesting, man. It is. I just leave it there, I guess. Footprints on the Moon, based on an early novel. I can't remember the guy's name. I should say the cinematography is absolutely out of this freaking world. But it's the guy. Who did Apocalypse Now and A Bird with a Crystal Plumage. And so the cinematography is absolutely. I will say this: the transfer is not bad. In fact, it's great compared to when you watch the trailer, which of course is always taken from old transfers, right? The transfer is pretty beautiful. There is a lighting issue where suddenly the lighting is one way and then the lighting suddenly shifts, and it's weird. It's kind of weird. So it's not a perfect transfer by any stretch, but it is one of those movies, boy. This is the type of movie that Criterion really needs to get their hands on and go back and do whatever they have to do to make the transfer perfect. I'm not saying 4K level, but just a really, really good, and just throw some extras on there, man, because this is definitely a worth movie. I think Criterion would be perfect. But anyways, here on the opening week, man, I throw a curveball in the sense that I just don't know what else to say, man. This movie really gets you thinking, and I have not seen the fifth quarter, but I really want to. And compliments of David again, who has just enlarged my scope of Italian cinema. I really got a kick out of this. I really did. So anyways, here, week 1 of September, as we roll on closer and closer to October. And my dogs, man, defensively put a pounding on Clemson. Had to love that the other day. Just had to celebrate my 29th wedding anniversary. That's outstanding, right? And next weekend, NFL opens up. So with that, man, I'll just leave you with Go Bills.
This is not a dream.